What is up, everybody? This is Scott Melker, aka the Wolf of All Streets. Although these days, I think it's more appropriate to call me the Wolf of No Streets because I was exposed to someone with the coronavirus, COVID, and so we have been in full-on quarantine. So the only street I am the anything of is my own street and my own house. It is Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means that I'm going to be taking chart requests from my paid subscribers of the Wolf Den newsletter. You can see that on the screen, and you can also join down below if you'd like to make requests in the future. Do this every Wednesday. It's a perfect excuse for me not to teach kindergarten or parent my 18-month-old who seems to think it's funny to climb on tables and look for scissors. That's basically what he does all day. It's unbelievable, but true. So I'm going to give everybody a little time to get in here. Looks like we've got some people starting to roll in. Hopefully I'm actually live here. And then I will get into it. So we have quite a few chart requests to get through today. Nothing crazy. I have to give fair warning. It might be kind of depressing because most of you chose altcoins, which are pretty destroyed at the moment, but that does not mean there's not a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, the night is darkest before the dawn, whatever. You know, there's going to be a time for altcoins. They're going to rage, and it's probably going to be amazing when they do. So let's just try to see what would make us enter, what would be good signals of a bottom or reversal, and try to give some thought as to when alts might start to behave a little bit better, because I know that everybody is suffering the pain from that. Very important for me to mention, I need you to hit the thumbs up. Somebody hit the thumbs down. They don't like me. That's a shocker. Hit the thumbs up because it helps the algorithm, and then more people can watch me. And if more people watch me, then I can show my wife that I'm cool, slightly cooler than I was when I had less thumbs up people. And very important, the sponsor of my newsletter is Phemex, P-H-E-M-E-X. The link is down below. And since I've started adding them to my live streams as a sponsor, because I love them so much, they decided to offer anyone who signs up a $120 bonus, which is awesome because that's better than what they were offering before. You can sign up for that below. That is the only exchange that I use at present to trade anything with leverage, and it's awesome. They also have free spot trading. It's not like it's only a leverage exchange, but primarily I use it to trade Bitcoin with leverage and a few select alts. I was long XRP for a really long time there. Stopped out of that trade, been way in profit today. I guess on that big move down, or when I woke up, I had stopped out on a trailing stop, and I've been longing Link, Ethereum, Bitcoin there at various times. So it seems like everything's working. People are starting to say hi. We're all here. Good news. So we're gonna go ahead. Oh, Bagsy, what's up, man? I see you. Although I don't see you because you wear a mask. But I actually, you guys might not know this. You probably all follow I'm Bagsy on Twitter. If not, you should go follow him right now. You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you don't do that. But I actually know what his face looks like under that mask, because he and I have hung out before. And yeah, we were like in Vegas, hanging out at a dingy bar at a crappy casino at like 4 o'clock in the morning, having drinks and talking about cryptocurrency and life. Yeah, so it was a moment. It was a moment. We shared a moment. So you might not know this, but a lot of us actually know each other in real life and have hung out. And he's an awesome dude and a great follow. And basically, he doesn't live stream enough like he used to. He used to do this like 17 times a day. And so he's basically just left a big hole for me to try to fill. You know, it's very hard to fill those shoes, but we need to get him live streaming again. So you should all bother him to do that as soon as humanly possible. Oh, Euclid, I see you here. There are no donuts. You played yourself. I promise you there would be donuts. There are not. All right, guys, I'm going to go dig in a little bit into the charts. So here we go. First thing I have pulled up here is Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, it's dominating. this is ridiculous. Obviously, this is not price action. This is a chart that's calculated. It has nothing to do with bids or asks. So sometimes you get these wonky things. But, you know, if you were with me before, we were trading alts every time these supports were tested as resistance and dropping, and we made a shit ton of money, you know, starting in like April and May, trading altcoins. Saw 10Xs on Binance coins. Not even, that was, you know, before like the DeFi hype was even a thing for me. And these were crazy opportunities, but all good things come to an end. It broke this descending resistance, retested, and then it's been, you know, resistance, support at the exact same levels. And yesterday I tweeted, here we are at resistance again. Will it break above, or will we get rejection and alt relief? Well, it decided to, you know, break forward and do dirty, illegal, horrible things to your altcoin portfolio. Probably illegal in most states and countries. So sorry is what it is, but we're going to see what might happen. I don't know if it'll go all the way up here. We had this big gap here that filled, and now we're above it. So we're going to have to see, but let's go through the requests that you had, and find out what there is to see in this world of dead coins. ADA, right? So I posted this potential setup yesterday, and this is really important. Now the newsletter is daily, so I get to like throw out ideas, but you can see, I'm assuming that you can see it on my screen, that I have an alarm set right here. This is the icon for the alarm on this line, right? This setup that I shared yesterday is just that. It's a setup, not a signal. A signal would be, hey man, buy this, put your stop loss here and put your take profit here. That doesn't teach you anything except for how to lose money following idiots on the internet. This is coffee, by the way, not Coke. I don't drink that shit. So this obviously hasn't triggered, right? I shared this setup, but you can see the entry would be a break of this, which could be down here, anywhere, and this would have been the stop loss. So you never entered, you never stopped out, doesn't matter. We still have this potential bullish divergence, although, you know, that didn't confirm. It was an idea, as I said. So anywhere above this level on RSI, above 21.03, if we see a definitive elbow up, we're going to have a bullish divergence because we have lower lows on price. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But if you want confirmation, you know, we have this key level, which is this entire zone. I can draw all the way back to here, right? Obviously, extremely key level. So we want to see price trading above that and above this descending resistance. Otherwise, put ADA out of your mind. It doesn't exist. It's completely irrelevant. You don't want to be trying to like find the dead ass bottom of this, because that's how you catch a falling knife and cut your hands severely. Next request. I always call it ANKR. Is it ANKR? I don't fucking know. Oh, and by the way, I should mention that I always mention this, but like I don't look at these charts before we do this stream. I just like line them up so that they'll be open, and I don't look, because it gives us an opportunity to see the right, wrong ideas, lines that were stupid, old lines. It's great because you get to see what an idiot you've been. And it proves how wrong, you know, we can be with our technical analysis. So obviously we had some trades on this that were good. And we even have one here that was like from, you know, 50 up to almost 60, a nice 20% move, but kind of not a thing at the moment. This is interesting because, again, if this makes a definitive move up, we would have a bullish divergence, because from here we have lower. And it's sitting on a key support. At least it's a support that I drew a while back, and I'm hoping it's still a key support. Let's see. Yeah. So we have this line, perfect touch here. This was the bottom here, right within a sat. Line's 43, that bottomed at 44, here it bottomed at 46, and here looks like we even tapped 42 and closed above. If you're in the mood to catch a falling knife, this isn't the worst one to catch. I'm not doing it, but it is on support. So if you like buying things on support and this closes, you know, below this 46 level, it will probably have a bullish divergence if this heads up. But I'm going to go back to the 4 hour. You know, like you can see, like this was a very clean breakout. Nice, had a nice big candle. The target would have been up here. No, right now we're back all the way below. These altcoins, I mean, unless you're in like a macro alt season that lasts months, you never hit these higher targets. We're seeing these dead cat bounces, which can last months or two. Our alt seasons have effectively been dead cat bounces on the way to lower lows, right? So it's hard to get really like excited. I mean, yes, this traded below here at some point, but it's been pretty ugly. That doesn't mean there's not a ton of money to be made. It just means you shouldn't be married to these coins ever, because they'll cheat on you and make your life unhappy. I would say that there's a couple other ways we could draw a line. This one's kind of useless. We're not going to wait for that to break to take a trade. Maybe something like this, I would say, would be a new trend line that, if broken, could be somewhat convincing. Obviously, that's probably a channel if you pull it like this. Keep burping. Acid reflux. Might not know that about me. I used to have acid reflux so bad at a point in my life when I was DJing, actually. Something like that could be a channel, that I used to have to sleep in a chair upright because I would get so sick at night if I didn't. And so I also couldn't drink that entire time. I couldn't eat anything acidic. So I was actually very helpful to my DJ career that I didn't drink for like years because I had such bad acid reflux. Things you might not know about me. It's disgusting. So thank you for joining. You have to listen. It's amazing. If you want to see my charts, you have to listen to me talk about my stomach problems. So yeah, maybe a break of this. If we see 43 hold, I think that this could be reversing. We would see those bullish divergences, and you can put a stop, somewhere down in this to avoid a wick. Like I said, I'm not trading it, but it's not the worst looking chart, because that is a really, really significant level of support right there. Okay, someone asked for VYG. You can't chart that to Voyager, and we've been through this a few times, but BQX you can chart on Binance. There is no such thing as BQX. BQX is VYG. It's Voyager. It's one of my favorite companies in the space. I had Steve Ehrlich on, their CEO, last week to do an AMA and just talk about what they're up to. It's pretty amazing. So I chart it as BQX on Binance. One day, maybe they'll change the name. He said that there's something in their system that doesn't allow a coin to be changed and retain the history and stuff. So they've basically just kept it as BQX. I mean, chart looks the same as before. I don't have to change anything. This is kind of a key area, but there's, if you want to draw it back further, see why that's such an important area. Well, 749 here is pretty huge. I'm going to guess that so this bullish divergence thing, it's always here, but it's kind of a meme until we really see them reverse, right? Because it can continue down, make a bigger bull div, and you've entered too early. There isn't even one here. So, but it is notable that we are tapping oversold RSI here. And maybe for the first time in 2020. Right. So this entire year, it's never been oversold. And as I often talk about, if you're overbought, you're going to go to oversold. It's inevitable. They always travel from one to the other. Right. So, and if you want to talk about knowing when that's going to happen, check out what was going on at the top here. Right. It doesn't have to be exact here. You get the idea. And my computer is so crappy. Right. Huge bearish divergence with historically high overbought RSI at 86.9. That was going to retrace, and that was the start of this entire move down, right? So now, listen, like oversold, it could go way into oversold. It could hang out here. But what would be really cool to see if alts continue down is that you see RSI kind of come here, and head back up. And that would be while price, kind of came here, up here, made a lower low, and then absolutely blast off. We would have this bullish divergence here. And those are, when it's oversold on the daily and it's after, the thing's kind of never been oversold, I would not be surprised to see something like that happen, but it could reverse from here. This line is I don't even like it that much. It's always weird when you have kind of these high wicks like this together. It's so far from price action. There's all this white space. So I wouldn't even really consider that line at this point. But yeah, this is what I'll basically be looking for on this. God, man, I'm burping machine. Yeah, so let's see. I'm going to just wait and see if this holds 749. If it starts closing above this blue range, I would definitely consider it. I don't even think that this line is that important. Honestly, it's here. But it's not like I'm not going to take a trade just because it gets back above that line. It wasn't even retested. So I do like that area. See what happens. Somebody chimed in late with CRV. Interesting spot, actually. So, you know, we were talking about it here down in the 220s. It's now at 412. It did over a 2x on the trade that I posted. So, you know, if anybody didn't take any profit there, you know, your choice, not mine. Clear bullish divergence, move up. But what's interesting here is that we have, you know, this kind of fresh resistance. The move up rejected right at the line that I drew, right? So we have this wick above, ugly, all three of these candles below, and then the big move down. So that could be like another reversal coming way down here, but it is testing this resistance as support successfully, even with the wick below, and that was never tested. So this is an interesting area to consider a trade if, again, you're dying to buy something. You could also, you know, do something like this. Nah, I don't know. So, you know, it is retesting former resistance as support. All of this is going to be predicated on what Bitcoin decides to do and what happens. So someone asked me to enable subtitles. I mean, I can try, guys. I'm not really technically so savvy. So I'm going to get, I don't know how to do that. Maybe I'm going to edit. Give me 2 seconds. I'm trying to add to do the subtitle thing. Yeah. Caption certification. No, don't need that. According to distribution, contents, rating. Sorry, I got to keep going. I will try for next time. I have no idea what I'm doing, but that would be pretty sweet to have subtitles. I know that I can add them definitely afterwards, so I'll try to do that. So that's my view on CRV. I mean, it's not really that inspiring, but what is interesting is I did pull the fibs last week when we were looking at this, and if you consider even this the top and not up here, we haven't even retraced 23.6, right? So if this was a bottom, I mean, even just to get to the 38.2 would be like, you know, 5x or something. So the potential of these coins that got so destroyed is astronomical. And now the next request is my favorite coin ever. The coin that changed everything for me really in 2017. I rode 2 of the huge, massive Doge cycles from around the current price to, you know, 120 sats or something. Let's see. Let's go take it back. So this is the weekly, right? There were all these cycles long before I existed, you know, all of these, but I caught this one and this one and a little bit of this one. But, you know, this is really what got me so sold on trading crypto. It's when I saw what Doge did and how easy it was, seemingly. Just like keep buying anywhere between 15 and 30 and watch it go up into the hundreds. I mean, this almost got to 200, right? 187. I didn't catch all of that. Maybe I wrote it from, you know, 16 to 20 or something. And that was the reason I did that was Chris Inks, Texas West Capital. I'll never forget. So when the first time I wrote some of it, and then at the time, his group, his paid group, whatever, was just setups and it was on Trello. So he would just post these Trello cards. And the beginning of the Doge one was, do you want to get rich? This is how you get rich. I literally remember it like it was yesterday. And I had to wait like 2 months for it to cycle up again or something, or a month. I don't remember how long it took, but he was like, Doge was 18 sats. He said, in the setup, you know, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to keep buying it no matter how low it goes. It's going to go back to 100 sats again. It just always does. It's got these cycles, right? Boom, 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 boom. It's crazy, right? But we haven't had one, obviously, since really like April 19, even September 18, and they've gotten kind of smaller as we've gone. So let's dive in. I haven't looked at this chart in so long. Embarrassingly, it's just kind of been off my radar, but I can tell you I'm interested just by looking at this because this is it. Like this is the lows, unless you count this 9 sat dump in 2014, probably Mount Gox right there. we're trading at the lowest of low supports at 15. If we come down to 15 sats, we're presently at 16. So, we were trading Doge here too, which was the Elon Musk at pump. Caught that. But only from like 20 something to like the 40s. So it wasn't anything crazy. So let's see. Well, I mean, I know that there's going to be bullish divergence on one of these time frames because it's Doge. Won't be the weekly, but I bet the daily will have it. So we're oversold on the weekly. Oversold here, cycle up. Oversold here, cycle up. Tapped oversold here, cycle up. Did not happen here. So history does not always repeat itself, although from 22 to 38 is still a pretty nice move. It's like a 50% move over, right? The daily, I'm surprised I'm not seeing this. So yeah, the daily appears to be, bull diving, right? All the way up, higher lows, lower lows, especially by hitting 16 in the past 2 days. This chart's a mess, but yeah, I mean, listen, maybe Doge is like the meme has died, but it's never not eventually seen its moment again. I'm going to buy some Doge at 15, 16 just for fun. I'm not going to go crazy with it, whatever, just because it's got such a chance of 10x and I don't think it goes to zero. I think it's still got its cult community. So yeah, I'll probably after this put in some bids, see if I can catch it here at 15 and buy some at 16 in case. And you might not fill at 16 either because there's these huge sell and buy walls, and if you're getting in the back of a major line, so you want to be largely ahead of those. Let's see what is happening next. Ethereum, Bitcoin. Yikes. All right, so we had this potential inverse head and shoulders, and I'm going to go ahead and erase it because no, not to be. But, we do have clear potential bullish divergence still here, which is nice, right? If I need to draw it here, I'll assume it'll line up, but. Right, so that was a nice, so we played this one. I posted that when it happened. So, there was a move from 26 up to, 29, whatever, nothing huge, but that, and now it's kind of continuing on with the bullish divergence because we have these lows here and this is now making a lower low. So give you kind of an idea, but it's not a bullish divergence until this happens. I'll show you. I want to make sure that because you get so wrecked trying to play these too early, right? We need to see like this continue, and then you need to see this elbow, right? Like another bull div would be like down there or something, but you need to see this definitive break up, and you need to see the same in price. So it's not a bull div yet. It's a potential bull div. I still think that we were rejected here and that this line is somewhat the key, resistance, almost rejected. So I wouldn't trade Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair basically below that line, unless you're trying to dead ass catch a falling knife somewhere down here. I don't even know where these lines are coming from. They're so old. So let's look at the weekly. Interesting. And this line really was important because this was a confirmed double bottom. Oh, no, actually, that's not the line. So there would be a confirmed double bottom here. That would be an interesting place, which is macro. And then this is a key level because it was retested here. So we really don't like trading below that, I think, and I think that we could still draw a line here, although it's kind of janky. There's so much price action above and beyond, but all these candles break right on that line. So that would be a logical place if this continues down to start looking for a position. And once again, this was overbought on the weekly. So you expect that eventually it could get to oversold. So there could definitely be more downside. If Bitcoin decides to rip up or have a major correction, alts are going to die, right? They're just going to not die to zero, but they're going to get just destroyed again. And they'll keep getting destroyed over and over again. So for me, the only path I see positively for altcoins right now is like if Bitcoin forms like a $2,000 or $3,000 range, even $1,000 to range, and just goes sideways for a while and gives these a chance to breathe. Otherwise we're just playing relief bounces, which are somewhat likely to be bull traps. Interesting. Draw this line out. Just jumps out at me. It's kind of an interesting line because, Bitcoin has a similar sort of one. This is going back to 2017. So pay attention to that. That's about it for Ethereum. Link Bitcoin, nothing has changed on this chart. Looking at it, this is exactly how I post it. I have an alarm on this line, as you can see. I don't really want to touch it until it breaks that line or until it tests this bottom black line, which I don't know if I have it on the weekly. I do not, but I do love the Link weekly chart until it's actually broken below this finally, because it was in a ascending channel for its entire existence since the minute it started trading in 2017, and retested it a couple times, broke above. I don't love seeing it back in here. Technically, that could mean we see a move down to the center of the channel, but not so worried about that with Link right now. I prefer kind of looking at this black line, which is major support, right? And as I talked about before, like, people always say support weakens every time it's touched. That's true of horizontal support because you have bids that are being removed every single time, right? Price hits support, some more buys fill, price hits support again, and you clear out those orders. That's not really true of an ascending line, right? An ascending line is generally a stronger support in that regard. So I still think this is the same. So I would take maybe a bounce off of that line or a break of this blue line and take it up. Otherwise, I just don't see this as an obvious place. You could play the USD pair. I could pull it up. But you're just banging your head against the wall a bit if you do that. I'm sure it looks good because Bitcoin looks good. And Link's not that wrecked on the Bitcoin pair. So that means the USD pair is going to look decent. When I'm live streaming, I have good internet, but man, my thing is wrecked. I'm getting a new... So I have a brand new iMac back there. It's on the wrong side of the room for streaming. So I use an older laptop over here and it just blows. So I'm having a PC built, literally the first PC of my entire existence in my whole life that I'm going to own. But that should up my streaming situation here. So yeah, I mean, it did break above that 13,246 level I had. It's below it now. I mean, it looks good on this pair. There's no, it's all higher lows. Maybe higher lows, higher highs. It's a macro bull trend on the USD pair. But again, like, you're making more money sitting in Bitcoin than you are trading Link USD right now. That's the way it is. So PLTR, guys, it's a stonk. This is a stonk. Oh, okay. I don't know what the hell this is, but it only has been trading since October. Palantir Tech Incorporated. And this jumps out to me as ready to dump into oblivion, but that doesn't mean it'll happen because charts are kind of memes for stocks, right? This company could, I don't know what they do, but they could cure cancer tomorrow and the chart won't matter. But I bet they won't cure cancer tomorrow. So if I was charting it, I'd be out of here, right? And I'll show you why. A few things. One, it's overbought. Two, all kinds of potential bearish divergence. Although, again, we want to see that it is technically a bear div, this one clearer, but we want to see that not pointing sideways coming down. But also, like, if this candle closes this way in an hour and a half, you have a potential sort of shooting star, especially if it closes with a gap, like a little bit up here. And then we could have a evening star if there's a down candle here, which would be a major top. But this is not the kind of candles that you want to see at the top. We have these two longer wicks. Today is on lower volume. And we have overbought with this. This seems like whatever it was is probably heavily hyped in FOMO. So I would be looking for it to draw it down. It's almost impossible to like draw lines on a chart like this, right? And pointless. But let's call this like a move here. Let's see, I bet price likes to move in channels, as you know. Something like that. I mean, you could get more aggressive and go that way, but then you're going to have this like crazy whatever. So I would, draw it from here-ish, something like this, something like that. If you want to get really technical about it and do it exactly, which you should, well, it'll be an ascending wedge instead, right? Not bullish, regardless. Looks like it's running out of steam. So, it's almost like a channel, but slightly ascending wedge, because eventually those 2 points will meet in the future. And then they'll get married and have kids. So yeah, I'm not too into this chart right now, but you also, like, you could just not, you could use this as a support. If it breaks, that's where you would exit your position or something like that. As for horizontals, I mean, there's really none. Like, you could draw a level here, maybe a level here, but you just can't really chart this. Oh, but it is clear. We have already clearly confirmed a bearish divergence on the 4 hour here. Right. So I think personally, the chart says to me that this is going to go down, but fuck do I know? It's a chart. It's not going to tell me shit. Tesla. Boing. So Tesla next to Doge is the greatest asset I've ever traded in my life. I can't even pull my old charts because of the split. It makes it kind of you can't really use them. But I was in Tesla in the 30s, wrote it up to 300s, bought again at like the 180s, very, 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 very publicly on Twitter, when people said it was going to zero, and went into the thousands, many thousands. So that was super sweet. But I sold, when I bought at 180, I sold between 500 and 1,000. It ultimately went beyond double that. So no regrets. I kept a little bit, and that's my kind of forever moon bag. But last time we looked at this chart, I drew this bull pennant, said if it breaks out, then you get the chance to retest. Apparently that was yesterday. I did not have an alarm on this, like a chump. Perfect. Broke out, retested, and exiting. So it's interesting. So, as I often like to joke, technical analysis is not a science, right? It is, it's more of an art. So if we draw this on the weekly, the question becomes, how do you measure the target, right? How do we measure the target of this? Is this the bull flag from here? Is it this entire thing? Is it this entire thing? And look at the wild difference that you get in targets if you do that. Let's say this entire thing is it, right? I'm on a logarithmic chart, of course. So, that gives you a target of $980, almost 2x. Okay, well, let's call this the pole, the flag pole. By the way, guys, I might be saying dumb stuff sometimes. I don't know. I don't remember what I say. And so I may be saying stupid things. It happens. I don't know why that just pulled 2 of them. Here we go. Almost the same target, 942 as opposed to 964. It's kind of funny when you do it on a log chart. It's not as aggressive. But then, a lot of people who are more conservative might say that your flag is this. All right. I can hear my son outside my door going, da, 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 da. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's super freaking cute. $736. So no matter how you do it, this says the number's going up. And if this breaks above this line at 502, which is the all-time high, this is full on price discovery. And I wouldn't go betting against Tesla. So yeah, Tesla looks really, really, really good. Really good. Tesla got you started as a trader. Nice. I haven't looked at the comments over here, guys. I'm very, very sorry. Very sorry. I'm not gonna be able to catch up with that for the moment. So we'll get back in there in a while. War. So I had to pull this up on some bullshit chart EFX. I thought it was chart FX, shows what I know. Because it's not on TradingView. I have a log chart. I mean, maybe these are better on linear. That's kind of funny though. Like if you zoom this out, look at how ridiculous it looks. Hold up. What was that? How did I do that? Just if you zoom it out far enough or go on linear, it literally looks like a flat line. That's what I was looking for. Let's go to like the 12 hour on this. I mean, this doesn't look great. I think I own some of this, to be honest. It was like war, and then Crypto Dog was talking about it or something, and I bought a dust bag. That's probably not in profit if I had to go ahead and guess. So first I would say, like, if I had drawn this before, I would have probably had some sort of support here that it's breaking. and got back above. So maybe we want to get back above that line. I don't know. There's a million ways we could draw trend lines here, right? Oh, it broke out. That would have been a good one, actually, because break and retest, but still break support. Oh, we could draw it like this. You draw lines wherever you want, guys. Isn't it pretty? All of them, anything to fit your bias. It's like an all bias buffet. You just go there and you feed your bias, and then you go on Twitter and you get in your echo chamber with the cash tag, and you're convinced that this is the future. There's a gap here that should fill. So I would say that this would double just to fill that gap. So that's kind of nice if you want this. I still kind of like this line here and would rather be above it than below it. I don't really know what's going on here, but it's just not that pretty. Let's try to find some horizontals, which good luck on a chart this silly. Let's make that white. Fatten it up un poquito. Here, something through here. I mean, this chart is just ridiculous. I don't know what the fundamentals of this thing are. Yet again, I do own it. Welcome to 2020. Maybe here-ish, something. I mean, this line I don't even like that much, but the area I think is fine. So I would say we want this back here, or you watch this come down here and retest, and you're in all-time low price discovery if you go back below there, right? But, listen, if I had looked at this yesterday, I might have a better view. But this is what would have probably been screaming at me, would be, right? An ascending wedge that gaps down out of it. But I do think we should come back and fill that gap and at least fill this. And that's a 2X, basically. So this should bounce at some point, but impossible to chart this whack software, whatever. Somebody just said, I looked over and they said don't put alcohol on a coffee. I'm not going to put alcohol on coffee. I'm just going to drink coffee, if that's okay. Now, YFI, I'm in, I actually bought this on this breakout, and it was yesterday, and I have to admit I added a little more at 1.26. Not saying you should do the same, but I did kind of like that as a sort of ugly. I'll show you why. I mean, it's ugly. It's whatever. It's not probably technically the best because of volume and whatever, but kind of had this thing going on. I posted this either yesterday. I don't remember what day it is, but yesterday or Monday in the newsletter. So we've had plenty of time. I said when it flipped this maybe, or when it broke that. All of those things have happened. Now, if I was entering it, I would wait for it to break above this level because that's a key resistance. And so we want to see one of these up. But this just looks good. It looks really good on the USD pair I saw all over Twitter as well. But, your target here is almost 2 Bitcoin. Pretty good. I just saw someone say, is BCH dead? Yes, BCH is hot garbage. I don't know if it's dead, but it should have never been alive, in my not so humble opinion. So who cares? I'm not trading that trash. Although I will say one of the greatest trading weekends of my life was that one weekend where BCH went absolutely crazy. Early 2018, late 2017. Everyone was talking about the flippening, and it was the new Bitcoin, and it was moving like 20, 30% an hour in both directions. And you literally just had to buy any dip and sell anytime it went up, and then do it again over and over again. It was really crazy. Someone just asked if I chart with log on or off. I always chart with log on. Basically, I care more about the relative percentage of a move than I do about the fixed amount. I mean, just to give you an example, right? Like well, that's not the best place to do it. But if you're using linear, you get these crazy higher targets because, $100 to $200 should not be comparable to 19,900 to 20,000, right? Still a $100 move, but it's a way smaller percentage. So I like to look at it this way. Just asked me to look at Moderna. That was in the newsletter yesterday. Altcoin Psycho posted a pretty sweet setup on that. I haven't even charted it, but I've been in Moderna since basically March, April, because a friend of mine's dad was a consultant there and told me to look at the company and said, hey, this is a moonshot if you just buy a little bit of this because they're going to be working on a vaccine, which was public knowledge. He just believed, there was a really good shot that they would get it. And here we are. So that's been sweet. YFI looks good, right? This is actually not a bullish candle though, right? This is a topping candle when it's in this position. If it's at the bottom of a move, that's a bullish candle. At the top of a move, it's a potentially bearish candle. Important to mention though, like a candle is not bullish or bearish until you see what the next candle does. So like if you see a green candle, gray in my case, going above here, that ceases to be bearish. So it's potentially bearish if you see follow through to the downside. But you actually don't want to see the long wick down when it's at the top. You want to see it when it's at a bottom. YFL. Love you, YFL. Just keep printing money with this thing. So YFL, haven't talked about it much, but this was the trade of the year, one of the better trades of my life, because I was fortunate enough to be given the opportunity to be one of the few people who basically was like pre-mined. And for a couple bucks, basically a coin, and it opened at 100, went to 300. Hours later, I was selling it as fast as I could on Uniswap, which I could only do like a couple coins at a time. And then it dropped all the way from $300 to $15. I bought a ton and it went to almost $2,000. So what actually convinced me to buy the land that I bought recently, which I probably would have done anyway, was that I made so much money on YFL that it was like a free land. Crazy. But so now I have this like deep love affair with YFL. I think it's also a fundamentally a great project. Link swap, I think, is coming or just came. They're really doing cool things, and obviously it leverages the popularity of Link and the passion of the Link Marines in that community. It's like DeFi plus Link seems like a winning sort of situation. So this is breaking a key resistance and retesting it as support. So anything above this 623 level is really nice, but we're just really kind of like traveling in this beautiful channel after this breakout, and the trend is up, right? So maybe you start to worry if it breaks the EQ. I wouldn't be so worried at this line, but really ultimately, I think that this remains bullish anywhere in this channel. So if you see a breakdown of this channel, maybe you exit. Not really any volume. This is on Poloniex. I think most people are trading it on Uniswap, so it's hard to gauge, but I didn't change this chart at all, and I think it looks pretty good here. I mean, you could draw a line here and say it's getting rejected, but I think this line is much more key because much more of a macro sort of level. And like if you had at one point here drawn a trading range, this would be the top of that range. I can show you what I mean. Like, let's go back in time and pretend we thought this was the bottom at this point. Right? Sheet. Locking in on the wrong things. Let's make it green. Right? So this would have been like a deviation to the bottom. But now we would be breaking the top of this trading range, retesting it and trading above it. Right? Sometimes you have to kind of look back at a chart with the bias that you would have had at the time, as opposed to exactly what it looks like now, right? Because, like you could step up to this chart and be like, oh, here's resistance. Oh, well, that's cool. Actually, we're breaking out. But that doesn't mean that like you shouldn't have noticed that this was happening, right? We had this clear consolidation under this resistance. It's meaningful, but you can draw lines basically anywhere. So sometimes you want to look at them at what it would have looked like if you had just charted it a week ago, as opposed to today or something like that. So that is all the chart requests. I'm going to look at Bitcoin really quick because I haven't today. That, again, not a beautiful daily candle, but the day is not closed. But what's interesting is, I had added this monthly level. I've had this same monthly chart. If you guys have been with me, we've been looking at this same exact monthly chart, maybe a line or two since the newsletter has been in existence, which started like here. And all these lines were drawn except for this one, which I added when 10,540 became such a key level. I don't really view this as a monthly level, but I put one on there anyways. But then if you take it on the daily, we go all the way back to 2018, because there's really no lines up here, guys. Like there's nothing here. We're about in price discovery, but you can see how that monthly line lines up on the daily, right? This was when we had the all-time high, dropped back to 10,000 in a few days, which was crazy, right? In like a week, we went from 20 to basically went from like 10 to 20 in a couple of weeks, and then back from 20 to 10. Everybody screamed, "This is it, reversal," right? We're going way back up. And this was the top of the dead cat bounce before the ultimate move down to the 3,000s. So 17,178, this level is very key still. And what's notable about that, regardless of what happens here, and what's cool about technical analysis, I mean, yeah, there's maybe a dollar gap, but yesterday's candle closed above, today dropped $1,000 and tested it within 10 bucks. Depending on where you draw it. It's pretty sweet. Again, this candle is of no concern if tomorrow's candle is nice and big. I still ultimately, it would be a tremendous break in history for Bitcoin or any asset not to eventually get a nice retracement. This is parabolic. If that breaks, maybe down here 12.5. But even in 2017, I haven't looked at it, but we had like a lot of 30%-ish retracements, like these dips here, there, here to here, here to here before ultimately going parabolic. But that was still, on this one, right at around the all-time high, 19,000 down to 13.5, right? That would scare the shit out of people right now, right? The one we talked about here, this was what, from 7,933 to 55 in a few days. So you get these 30%-ish, give or take a bit, retracements all the time. We just haven't seen that yet here. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Could never happen, but no asset has gone purely parabolic without retracing at all, basically ever. So retracement would still be healthy. I would welcome it. So now I'm going to pull over here into the comments and see what the hell people are talking about. So still talking about donuts. What type of journal I use. I'm not as big on journaling as I used to be. I just keep basically spreadsheets, and if there's notes to take, I take them. But for years, I would, basically just do it in Word or something like that, and I kind of just kept them compiled, where I'd write up all my trades, but I don't have a formal journal anymore. Going back, someone from Portugal, go Gators. We're doing well here. Me too. I met him. He's a great dude. That's Euclid clearly talking about Bagsy. Bagsy, you should come here more often because you really get a lot of compliments and, fluffing. I'm not taking random requests because these requests are for people who subscribe to the newsletter, and that wouldn't be particularly fair. Do you think the top is in and we're heading for that 20 to 30% correction? I kind of just talked about that a little bit. I don't know if the top is in now. I would hate to try to call the top. That's a fool's errand. It could be. Or, this could just go completely blasting. There's no technical reason at this point to try to find a top. I mean, yeah, we'll probably have bearish divergence, but we've had that sort of pushing through on the daily, and it doesn't matter. All you know is that there's going to be a correction. Doesn't mean I want to short it. It means I'll buy the dip. Doge pushed $1. I doubt it. Problem with Doge is the supply isn't capped. It's never been a problem before. Scott, why are you bearish on night mode? Because I'm old and I have bad eyes. What's your opinion on November to January alt accumulations before small rallies? Hard for me to make wild predictions far in advance. I have no idea what's going to happen. I just trade level to level, and right now, like looking at dominance, alts look shitty, so I don't really want to trade them. Hope you had a good birthday. Thank you. Yesterday was my birthday, and that is followed by my wife's birthday today, which has basically been a disaster for her for the 12-ish years we've known each other, because she used to be the center of attention, and now she has to have her birthday right after mine, which means sharing a birthday, and that kind of sucks for her. But I appreciate the happy birthday wishes. That's very nice. Palantir is a surveillance U.S. government-controlled company. That sounds terrible and terrifying. Hope it dumps. Head and Shoulders. What trader is it that does not know Palantir? Megan, that would be me. I don't know Palantir, obviously. I said that. So if that makes me a bad trader, then I'm very, very sorry. Don't put alcohol in your coffee. I ate too many candy corn. I feel sick. So I like candy corn. And I know that makes me some kind of weird unicorn, but I've had a bag of it since Halloween, and I've almost gone through the whole thing. I eat like 2 of them every 3 hours, probably. I think they're amazing. Is BCH dead? We went through that. Any thoughts on waves? Actually, I'll look at waves because I had been trading that a lot, and I've been sharing it a lot. So I feel that's fair territory here. Waves. Love this. I love waves. Man, made so much trading this during the alt runs back in the day. So you see how slow this is when I'm streaming? My God, load already. Yeah, well, this is where I had identified as a buy. I didn't do it, but this is where I'd marked. But listen, it went from here to here, but my stop would have been here below this support. So this would have been a nice move. And now it's slammed right back into resistance. So, yet again, this becomes sort of a matter of bias. You could draw a line here and say that it broke out, which is nice. Or now we can kind of draw a line here and see what happens, right? That would be sort of an ascending, broadening wedge, I would imagine. But this is a fair line, to say that it broke out. So this was the buy area I had targeted. I just didn't have any sort of alarm on it. But these were the setups that I had posted. So people who were trading with me bought it here on that move up and probably exited if it dropped there. And this was the first one, and then down here. So had a lot of opportunity to make money on waves, and it looks definitively better than most alts, as you can see. Still higher highs and higher lows all the way up, which is amazing. The only thing is, we had this sort of blow off top volume here. So that retrace is kind of obvious. So we want to see volume continue to increase, which is happening, right? I mean, you can see that there's sort of like, that's going up, right? So we want to see this candle, these, some more bullish candles with a wider candle spread on the way up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me go see what else we got here. An easy listen, Scott. Thank you. Don't charge enough. I mean, it's so funny. If you charge for anything in this space, inevitably you get the criticism that you're a scammer or that you're not a real trader, because if you made enough money trading, why would you possibly do anything? And that's like the lowest IQ criticism in the world, right? Any person who's a good trader, if you're really a good trader, then you understand portfolio management and you understand drawdown. A good trader probably wants other forms of income if they say lose money for a year or two straight, right? So you should always have multiple streams of income, no matter what. The way that I ended up charging $15 a month for the newsletter was because I started it completely free. I was extremely passionate about doing it and enjoyed it. So I wanted to spend more time on it. And so to justify spending more time on it, rather than being a charity worker, a volunteer, or a customer service agent for Twitter, I decided I'd just charge a little bit of money to make it worth my while. And that's the only thing I've ever charged anyone who follows me for anything, right? $15 a month. So if that makes me a scammer or a LARP or whatever, Godspeed, man, making money. So I think it's worth it. I put it out every single day now. That's going to be like at least 20 issues a month for $15. And anyone who gets it knows that I spend a lot of time on it and I go very, very deep. So I don't know how I got on that tangent. It's just really funny when I hear people make those criticisms. did you ever have a trading addiction? That's an interesting question from someone, Bob. You know, yeah. I would say that I did. I would say that even in the early days of crypto, it was very addictive, and I overtraded. And there was a time in 2017 when late 2017, when I did the back calculation, I thought I was crushing it and realized that if I had just sat in Bitcoin, I would have been even or even a little more profitable. And I'd spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, like trading and banging my head against the wall, and I realized all I had to do was kind of sit in Bitcoin. And that made me sort of revert to my macro strategy of only trading with like 15% of my portfolio. If things go nuts, if it's like a full on alt season, I've levered that up to like 50%, but generally I try to trade with 15-20% of my portfolio and the rest just be an investor, because it is so addicting. But the more you trade, the more you lose. Every trade is another opportunity to lose money, not an opportunity to gain money. And that's the mentality you have to have if you want to be a successful trader. I always talk about planning your losses. You should never be thinking about how much money you're going to be making on a trade. You should always think about how much you're willing to lose on a trade, because you assume that you're wrong. If you can approach that mentality, not care about losing, you'll take a lot less trades. There'll be much better trades. You won't FOMO into things, and you won't care when you lose money. So I think it's really, 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 really important to realize that. So yes, I mean, I was addicted, and then I think there was a time, and I was a shitty trader for like 15 years. So that I think there was a time when I just realized that I was losing myself money, I was losing myself sleep, and I was paying way too much attention to this. Also, it helped that I had a 2-year-old at that point, and I had to pay attention to my kids, and we had another kid, and now I just don't have time to be addicted to trading. So. Expect happy birthday. Thank you. Do you agree that it's insane to short Bitcoin in a bull run? Just buy the dips. It's too risky. I might be wrong. I don't think it's insane. I wouldn't do it. It's yet again, that's just like, why? You can be profitable. There's people that are amazing at it. But like right now has been a time where you spent all these years banging our heads against the wall, accumulating, doing all this stuff. All you had to do, if you have a proper portfolio, like I'm sitting in 60-70% Bitcoin, I don't have to trade. I'm making more money than ever by literally doing nothing and just watching it go up. So why would I try to short unless you think it's some sort of hedge against your portfolio? But like more than likely you're catching a rising knife. It's the same as catching a falling knife, and you're going to get wrecked. You can do it. There's people that are very good at it. There's people who trade hourly chart, 1 minute, 5 minute charts who are very successful. I just don't see a reason for it myself. Stop loss strategy. Do you set them at one level? Do you split them in half or thirds for each position? So I generally scale into positions and I scale out in profit, but I don't scale out in stops, right? My stop loss is usually the entire position, and my stop loss is based completely on a chart. It's not a calculation. It's nothing. I try to enter as close to invalidation as possible, put my stop loss in a reasonable spot, and then I back calculate my position size from there. And if I stop out, I stop out. I don't just stop out in part of it. Doge dead, or are we ready for the trade of the century? I don't think it's dead. Zcash happening today, but chart looks like garbage. That honestly, that wasn't even on my radar. But I think that right now, any of the older coins, like the fundamentals will be irrelevant. They're just going to keep getting wrecked until alts have a macro trend reversal, right? Because there's so many bag holders with these old coins from 2017 who are down 80, 90, 95%, right? And they're looking for any excuse to exit. So that's just a lot of selling pressure in my position. That's why we see like the YFLs, YFIs, YFDI, another coin that I love. Like they continue to kind of just buck this trend. People are interested in them. There's not crazy supply. There's nobody looking to dump or sell, right? So I would say focus on newer coins if you can. I'm not saying that these coins won't blast off. I just think they'll be slower, and the gains will be probably left. Have anyone tried to make any connection between the rise in Bitcoin price and the BitMEX arrests? Any chance this is partly a result of lessened manipulation? We need an Alex Jones in crypto. I don't think we need any more conspiracy theorists in crypto. I think we got plenty of them. Putting on my tinfoil hat, I have seen people talking about that. It's got a little bit of legs, I guess. I would say that it's very clear that the March 12th drop began as a macro sell-off into a global economic meltdown. So that pushed price maybe from that 9,000 level down to the 6s or 7s. But the rest of that move was a result of BitMEX having a inefficient liquidation engine that was basically firing liquidation orders by 10, 20 million at a time into an order book where nobody was buying. So it just naturally crashed price down to 3,000s, and they had to turn it off to not literally send Bitcoin to zero. So they are definitely responsible for the last leg, I think, of that. But it was kind of no harm, no foul, because price was back at 6,000 the next day once they turned it off. And that was actually massively profitable for a lot of people. I hit $4,000 bids I thought would never fill. I woke up in the morning and price was 6,000. I didn't even know that my bids had filled because price had gone from 6,000 to 3,800 back to 6,000 while I was sleeping. Right. So I got super lucky on that. As far as like BitMEX now being shut down, maybe they're not selling massively their own Bitcoin. I think that's all possible, but I think there's just so much better narratives for the bullish action that we don't have to look for a narrative of who was bearish and they were pulled off the market and that made the difference. I mean, we literally are watching billionaires go on TV on a every other day basis and talking about Bitcoin. I think it's pretty clear. Newsletter is totally worth it. Hey, I'd love to have a newsletter. Newsletter is fantastic. You guys are awesome. Thank you. At least have a look then if you, I don't know. I'm not looking at any other charts, guys. I'm sorry. So actually, I think we pretty much got through almost all of it there. Reminder, once again, please hit the thumbs up thing. 67 of you did it. And there's one hater in the room. I hope that guy DMs me so I can read his DM. Just kidding. And definitely check out Femex for the $120 bonus. I think that's really awesome that they did that for you guys. So, if you're looking for somewhere to trade, consider it. And then, of course, if you want to make requests in the future, all you gotta do is sign up for the newsletter, which is on the screen, for the low price of $15 a month. And otherwise, I'm going to try to get in another live stream sometime in the next few days, kind of looking at coins that I'm interested in. Hopefully, if they start to bounce, just depends on time, since I'm now a kindergarten teacher, nursery, daycare, work, cook, cleaner, trash man, and basically every other job in the world once again. So thank you guys again so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. It's fun hanging out. I love doing this. It's a great excuse to just drill into the charts and take a look. So until next time, peace. Thank you.